The last segment of the video, we're going to talk about the online advertising matrix. Why they are different? Well, they have some similarities with the previous advertising or the normal advertising or the traditional advertising that we have. So we have impressions, but at the same time, because this is a web page sometimes, or maybe this is a YouTube videos or something along that line. So we are sort of interested in translating the number of clicks sometimes, or the number of page view and so on. Okay, so it's the same meaning, but they are sort of using different terminology. So just put it that way. So the first one, or the first term that we are going to use, is what we call page view. So as the word suggests, page is page and view is basically viewing. So basically, how many times have you viewed that page? Or in this case, a web page. And impression, it's still the same. So the number of opportunities presented to view that advertisement. So the number of impression in here is that the percentage of time that an ad is displayed on a web page, and how many times actually have you clicked it. So I don't know whether you like those pop-up blockers, or if you like those YouTube advertisement that you are presented that opportunity to watch. Let's say there is a KFC advertisement running through, and what's the likelihood of you clicking that? So that will translate into the number of impression. So there's an example in here. So if there are 20,000 page views and the ad is displayed 10% of the times, so as you probably see from here, the number of impression will be the percentage, which is 10%, times the number of the page view, that will be 20,000. So that will give me 2,000 impression generated by the ads. Now, impression is only captures the opportunity to see, okay? So it doesn't actually capture whether they actually see. So what do I mean by that is that, let's say on the evening, you are watching some television while you are eating. Let's say your partner is cooking at the kitchen, and well, there are opportunity to see, or probably opportunity to hear, because you are watching on that point, but we are not sure whether they're actually watching or not, because probably they're just to enjoy it. They probably are enjoying their food, or it could be because the partner is busy cooking, and you probably get the noise of the cooking, or you get too hungry already and you probably can't think about food. Then you wouldn't want to listen whatever that is on the TV, could be, and so on. Okay, so the way how this works is that you have this potential customer. So this potential customer, it's basically like you and me. So let's say you have been searching a lot for the best computer, and out of some reason you do a Google search, and normally the first two lines of your Google search is normally an ad, or they consider that as an ad because that one comes first. So you have two choices right there. You want to click that or not. So if you didn't click, then you're obviously out of the process. If you clicked it, then it counts towards their page view and click-through rate, because it will then divert it into the page that you actually wanted to watch. Okay. So let me just read out the definition. The click-throughs is basically when user click on that advertisement link. Just as simple as that. So the click-through rate in percentage, it will give you a click-through in numbers. So how many times you have clicked through that advertisement divided by the impression. So impression is again like exposure. So how many times have you been exposed to the advertisement, and how many times you actually click. So high click-through rate is desirable, but it doesn't necessarily a large number of people click through. So what do I mean by that? Well, some people can click ad by mistake. So, it's just saying that. So it counts towards your click-through rate, but the fact that it doesn't actually translate to anything at all. So people can move before a page is loaded. So it means that after you click, it comes to your web page, and then the web page is so slow, you get fed up, you close it up. So that's it. Goodbye. And people can click on several ads. So I just want to compare this ad all together, all right? I don't know about you, but I've seen a lot of my colleagues, they actually put a lot of tabs in their web page, okay? So that's certainly not me, but definitely my colleagues are, so there are a couple of people in there. So click-through rate, they're saying it's like one step along the path towards final sales. Why? Because when you click through, it's sort of halfly there, but you're not there yet because you just brought into your web page, but you just want to, it's like opportunity, you have successfully diverted these people to your website, and it's like halfway of the process. That's what they're saying. So there are obviously costs associated with it. So like, for example, just now in my marketplace example, when I want to reach more people, I have to pay for advertisement. So as you can see in here, there are costs per impression, whereby it's just saying that it's the advertising cost divided by the number of impression. Cost per click, so the advertising cost divided by the number of click, how many times. And cost per order, so advertising cost divided by how many orders that you actually receive. So the way how this works, especially in retail sales, so first of all, you see potential customers, they promote their product into the world at large, and this will come out as the cost of impression because this is where your exposure is. And then after that, some people may click, some people do not care. So those people who click, then you can sort of calculate the cost per click. And lastly, after that, and then they successfully translate that into sales. So this is sometimes what we call conversion. So you manage to convert people from somewhere into your product, and eventually they actually buy your product. So from exposure into conversion, and from conversion, we can look at costs per order. So for the last exercise that we are going to calculate is that we're going to calculate what is the cost of impression, cost per click, and cost per order. So just to remind you, so we have just now a sort of flow chart. So you have this customer that is actually exposed. So this is the impression. So after impression, then you have click-through, and last one is that order. So first of all, they are exposed to your website, they ended up clicking through, and then they ended up making an order with you. So first of all, we're going to calculate the cost per impression. So this is going to be, which is the first one. So you know that the advertising budget, that's 24,000 divided by the number of impression or the exposure. So in this case, there are 1.2 exposures, 1.2 million. So that will give me 0.02 or 2 cents. Very cheap. Second part, which is cost per click. So this is going to be again another 24,000 because that's my advertising spending divided by the click. So you know that that is 2,000. So that is going to be $1.20. Now the last one, it will be finding out the cost per order. But before we finding out the cost per order, we need to find out what is actually the order. So the number of order, this is going to be, because they tell you it's 1 in 10, and you have the click-through rate or the click-through, which is 20,000. So the number of order is actually 2,000, and the cost per order, that will be equals to 24,000 divided by 2,000. So this is going to be $12. Okay, so that's pretty much what is advertising and some of the metrics that we have introduced you for advertising. We talk about impression, we talk about reach, we talk about frequency, and we talk about those rating points as well. We talk about the targeted and also the general. And then we talk about the frequency response model. And lastly, we have talked about advertising as well. So I hope you have been enjoying the experiences so far. If you have any question, feel free to email me. If not, I will see you in the next video.